Hello and welcome back to the Dare to Rest podcast. I have a juicy episode for you today. It's a deeply personal and I want to say like body honoring conversation, one that really invites us to question the system that we've normalized, the way we as women treat our body. And I hope it's going to be an invitation to return home to the wisdom of your body suit, your wonderful meat suit. I have a brave and wonderful woman with me today who I'm going to introduce to you shortly, who is in this process that we're going to talk about today, more specifically in the consideration of removing her IUD. And we're going to have a conversation about how that impacts us, like all the questions that come up. How do we handle all these different things? But also, we're going to talk about how that really is a reclamation of our own body. And by slowly doing this and engaging in this kind of conversation, we can find the courage to really come back to a piece of ourselves that we didn't know we had. And this is something I've done for myself 5 years ago. I removed my IUD after having eaten birth control pills like candy for, I think, 15 years. And getting rid of that IUD was one of the most radical things I've ever done to reclaiming my body. Not really because of the act itself, but more because of what it symbolized. And for me, it was a decision to trust my body, a decision to start to attune to my natural cycles and not to override myself, and also a decision to really grow, not from logic or fear, but really from this grounded, embodied truth of who I am and what it means to be a woman. And that's really what we are here for. And I just want to say before we jump into this conversation that inside my Grounded to Grow, which is my monthly membership, we explore exactly this kind of embodied liberation. Grounded to Grow is a space for women and men who really want to grow deeper, not just higher, who really want to move through life with this inside out approach, deep roots, nourished, feeling safe, good, and at home in their own bodies. So I hope you're in and ready for this amazing conversation, wherever you are in your journey. If you are on any type of birth control, if you have issues with body image, with trust in self, this conversation is for you. You've landed the right place, and I'm so ready to dive right in. I'm so happy. And I want to present to you the wonderful Jenn. But before I let her get the mic, I just want to say how fun it is that we are actually having this conversation, because Jenn and I met in masterclass, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. She asked a question like about IUDs. And we've had some private conversations on Instagram, two complete strangers, not really knowing each other. And after having had that conversations in our DMs, I said to Jenn, I want to do a podcast about this. Do you want to join me? And she was like, oh, I've never done a podcast before. And I said, yes, do it. Let me take your podcast virginity. Let's do it. And here she is. So Jenn, thank you so much for being here, for getting up so early to do this podcast with me today. Come say hi.
Thank you so much for having me here in this beautiful space. I'm so honored that this is my first podcast and that we get to talk about these beautiful topics together. And just going deeper. I love it.
It's so amazing. And I have full body chills because that's just one of the conversations that we want to hear, but we don't really always know where to go. Like, what is this? What's happening? We know maybe this is not the best for me, but what do I do? And before we dive in, because I have a bunch of questions to ask you, I also just want to say we're not here to shame anyone who prefers to stay on the IUD or on any kind of birth control. Just really want to open up the portal to see that there's something else, that there's another option. And in really setting ourselves free and liberating our bodies, we find so much of our innate power. So this is an empowered conversation, not to shame or name anyone. So
Hmm.
tell us, where are you in life? Just let people get to know where you are.
Yeah. So I am a mother of two, a 10-year-old and a 12-year-old. I am in my early 40s and just at this place of knowing that I'm done having children and wanting to move into the next part of my life, feeling, as you said, very connected to my body wisdom and those roots and listening to those messages that are much deeper in me. And this subject of the IUD kind of just keeps coming back up. That it's the one area that I'm kind of outsourcing and going outside of me to, have the answers. And it's been great. It has been a good sense, and in the sense that, I haven't had an unwanted pregnancy or anything like that. But I'm just really ready to listen to my body, and I'm hearing little whispers that it's time to get it removed
Mhm.
and to trust that. Yeah. Hmm.
That's so beautiful. And I love the fact that you decide to lean into those nudges rather than just, it's so practical to have it.
Yeah.
Let that voice be loudest is so, so easy. But let's rewind time a little bit. So what made you get an IUD in the first place? Was it no more children or anything else?
Um, yeah, so I had my first son back in 2012. And after I had him, kind of that first, well baby visit, well mama visit, you go back to see your doctor, your OBGYN. And really, it's the first conversation that they have with you. It's okay, what are we doing for birth control? And I'm like, wait, what? I just had a baby. I don't know. I thought that I didn't really know what to expect. But it feels that they want to get you on something right away. And so I kind of just surrendered. They know best. And my focus is a brand new baby. And so we decided that the IUD was the right time or the right kind of birth control for me at the time. And so kind of it started there, until I then had my next baby, which then I removed that one and had my daughter. Um, and kind of the same situation, went back in after my daughter, and it's what are we doing for birth control? And it's like, well, that one worked, so let's just do that again. And then that I've kind of been on it ever since.
Mhm.
And that was since 2014. So I've had two rounds of it. So 10 years of being on the IUD.
And
So
having kept it in your body because you didn't want any more children.
yeah, I wanted to, if I decided to have more, I wanted it to be kind of when I was ready, and then we decided that two was really good for us and we felt really happy and complete, and so now thinking back to the body wisdom, I'm coming up on my expiration date of the IUD, and it's made me really think. And, I think before, when I've had these conversations with my husband, about being the one to, endure the birth control and having it be on me, you know, the conversations, I think he was a little more resistant, like, I'm not ready to do the vasectomy. And I understand it's a big thing to their bodies too. But as we're approaching kind of this 12-year mark and I'm coming to the end of it, that conversation now is starting to change a little bit. And I think he may be ready now to be the one, so that I can have some more freedom in my body.
Mm. Yeah, and it's such a burden to the female body, and I get it to some extent, and also it's so wrong. And I also think the good solution might not also be that the man has tell me what it's called again in English because I forget.
Oh, vasectomy.
Vasectomy, thank you. Because it's a big thing for him as well, and it I know it rarely happens, but it can go wrong. We had a friend who had one done, and he just got internal bleeding, so it's not like he can't walk or he can't get a heart on anything. It's a
Yeah,
big deal to their bodies as
yeah,
well. But we need to figure out, okay, so how can we navigate this? We want to have natural sex, no rubber protection. So how can we do this in a way that feels good to both of us? And I think that's what's keeping a lot of women on the IUD or the birth control pill, because it's so easy.
mhm,
It's easy.
mhm,
But it also, as you and I had a brief conversation before this podcast started, I said I felt like a veil was lifted from my body, because all of a sudden I could actually attune to all the things that's actually happening in the female body that I had never experienced before. And I
mhm,
ditched my IUD in my mid 30s. So it's been a pretty freaking long time that I haven't really had a real
mhm,
connection with the femininity in my body.
mhm, mhm.
So how's your relationship? Are you with an IUD? Are you still bleeding?
I am actually, yeah, I actually have a period, and this actually was one of the other reason why I was checking in to be like, I'm at my end of it. Is this normal? I'm having a period every 3 weeks. So I would say classically it's every 24 days. I bleed for two days, maybe three at the most. But then sometimes it comes early, and then that would land on, anywhere from 21 to 22 days. And that feels like a lot. It feels like a
A
very
lot.
freaking amount of time to have a period. And it's been that way, I would say, for the last year and a half. And I probably should have looked at it closer, thinking that's kind of not normal to have that many periods. And I know a lot of women actually don't get a period on the IUD, and that's kind of like an enticing thing for them. They didn't want to have that anymore, and I know that's why some women do have it. But for me, yeah, yeah, for me, I was like, this is pretty frequent. And am I getting to the end? Is this, of the 5 years, and is that normal? And then, I also have this kind of feeling, kind of on a body level, this like my womb feels a little irritated, and I'm having some inflammation in my body that I just got back some biomarkers from. And I'm just like, could it be related? Not necessarily they could be, so I'm looking more into that.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
so you can say the nudges that started you in this direction of just stitching everything was the rather frequent bleeding
Yes.
and inflammation or irritation in your womb. Was there anything else that sort of got you to this, to
Yes.
getting closer to this consideration?
Yes. Beautiful question. So those were the two first kind of things. And then kind of the bigger one was um, we had a mentor that mentioned kind of tapping into your womb space to hear the deeper messages as a woman. And, she was talking about the womb being this beautiful creation space. And I couldn't help but have this feeling that not only on a physical level having the inflammation, but on a spiritual level, is the IUD blocking me from this deeper creative space? Am I receiving all the downloads I'm supposed to be receiving with this being in the way of that essentially being a portal. And so that was the deeper questions that have been coming up for me, that not only on a physical level, but is it blocking me on a spiritual level as well?
Mm, yeah. I, my answer to that would be fuck yes. I'm very sure it is. And again, that comes back to my own experience of really feeling like a veil lifted. It wasn't like, whoo, now almost all of a sudden I'm in deep connection to my womb and I just like create everything. But it was more this experience of like, I felt like my womb could finally breathe.
Mm,
I remember
mm,
when my doctor pulled out the IUD, I burst into tears. Like I really had that deep body sigh of relief, like finally, finally nothing. What
I
is this?
agree.
And then there's this whole getting to know yourself again, getting to know your womb, coming back to a normal cycle. And it's actually, and I can say this because I have no shame about this, this was the first time in my life at, I think, 36 or 37 that I had, quote unquote, a normal period
Mm,
and also
mm,
a normal duration. I've always had, even when I had my IUD, I think I had like minor bleedings for the first 2 or 3 months, then nothing. When I was on my birth control pills, I had a very, very long period. It was between 32, 36 days. That was my cycle, and I was actually bleeding for 8 days. Like, what the
mm,
fuck? So for the first time with nothing, my body was actually able to find back to that natural rhythm, which is so funny because a lot of women, myself included, got birth control pills to try and control the cycle and how much you bleed and all that. Just it never worked for me. I kept eating it. I kept taking them. Like, it's gonna work. It's gonna work. It never worked. My body knows what to do, and that's where this whole in my introduction, I said it's really the time for me to say I'm actually going to start to trust my body. So just
mm,
removing the IUD isn't going to give us the whole everything. It's going to give us access to get to know the body. And
mhm,
I've resented bleeding and having my period my entire life. So for me, it was this reclamation of really just owning that part of womanhood and really
mm,
understanding the signs, like what are the different seasons we go through in those cycles? What does that look like? What is my body telling me? What's the signs? Where are the shifts? How can I unlock all my different superpowers in the different seasons of the cycle? It's like it's so big, it's so huge. And I've gone from really hating and resenting having a period to actually looking forward to it every single month
mm,
because
mm,
it's an opportunity for me to really get to know myself even better. And
mm,
I'm 40. I don't know when I'm gonna go into to menopause. So I'm like, I want to get this right before I hit that stage. There's so much for me to learn about myself and my body. Like
mm,
I can't sit this one out because when we do take birth control, however way we take it, we do put a level of numbness into our bodies. And again, we can do it if we want. We just have to be aware that that is what's happening. So I
mm,
always, when I have this conversation with women, I like to say that we can take the birth control pill and it gives us just that. It gives us control, or we can
mhm,
release it and then we get power. So what do you want?
mm.
Control or
Oh, that's
power?
beautiful.
Yeah, that kind of
Oh, I love
works.
that.
Um, and we can choose what we want. It's just it's two very different things, but we also the power comes in really reclaiming ourselves and getting to know ourselves.
Mhm,
And I think
mm,
that leads into the next question I want to ask you. So what are the fears, what are the doubts you have about ditching the IUD,
mm.
if you have any?
Yeah. Well, the first thing that pops in my mind is it's painful. It's painful to get it removed. Yeah,
No,
the
that's not just getting
physical.
it up.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with pain, and then somehow when it comes to that to take, when I've taken it out in the past to get the new one, I was like, this is super painful. Um, I don't know. I don't think at this point I'm having a lot of fears around taking it out. Only maybe in the sense that, my husband now is more on board with the idea of having the vasectomy where he wasn't before. And just hoping that, like, if that's the route that we choose, making sure that we allow time and all of that for all those things to take place. So I'd say that that really is like the only fear. I do love what you said about coming back to the seasons of our menstrual cycle. I think it's so beautiful to really like attune to those inner seasons. We slow down, we listen, we are more connected to our emotions. And and yeah, I'm excited to kind of dive into that more because I know women naturally tend to bleed with a new moon or a full moon, just the way um, that's the cycle. And so, yeah, I think that would be my only, yeah, I guess there's not a lot of fear of taking it out. Getting back to the seasons would be lovely.
Mhm.
Getting more in tune with that.
So if there is no fear, what's the next step? When are you doing it?
Oh, I would say I actually called the doctor last week to see what appointments time she had. So she's getting back to me. So I would say in the next few weeks, getting something on the calendar. Like I'm ready. I'm really ready to have the power back, as you say.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have a master class called Period Power for that exact reason because
Oh,
there's so much that we need to start to understand about ourselves. It's not just of course we need to understand the different seasons and the cycles, but like it impacts every single area of our life, like the normal energy we are in, what we eat, what type of exercise we should be doing, when we really have we have so many different powers during a cycle, and harnessing those and getting to know them and like learning how we can unfold them is just it's the most beautiful journey. So you have some amazing shit ahead of you.
woohoo.
Woo! So tell me, what are you hoping to gain now that you've decided to really get rid of it? How do you want to feel in your body? What are you expecting? What are you hoping for?
Yeah, beautiful question. Yeah, I'm just hoping to have that deeper connection and trust. Um, yeah, listening to my body in a way that I don't doubt it and make decisions in my life that are always from that deeper womb space, heart space as well, but that deeper message, being really much more in tune with that. And I definitely know that there's a block for sure with having that there and just wanting to open that space. Yeah, create from there more. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And what do you want to create?
Oh,
Oh.
that's a good question too. Um, I, I have been an esthetician now for 20 years and I'm transitioning into, working with women. I don't quite know what the capacity is yet, but really learning to tune into what that is, and wanting to create, spaces to have beautiful conversations with women from all around the world, just like we're having conversations today. And maybe, yeah, going more in that direction of having that more of those spaces, more of those conversations.
Mhm. Well,
Yeah.
that's a perfect fit for opening up your womb space and really connecting to, as I said, it is a way of really connecting to a feminine essence that we know we have, but really haven't been able to truly get in touch with.
Mhm.
So are you hoping also that this is going to impact anything in your, because this sounds like you really want to build a new kind of business and connect with women, which is beautiful, but are you hoping that this is also going to impact some things in your private and your personal life, maybe in relationship to yourself?
Yeah. Always to self. That's where we have to start first. Yeah, and it just goes back to more of just really listening to myself on a deeper level and trusting myself really. And I think also too, getting out of fear. I think that, there might be something to the space of yeah, I don't know if it's causing some fear, but definitely I would love to see once my body's back on a natural cycle if that fear starts to melt, and working from a place of just a more embodied place.
Ooh,
Yeah. So, yeah.
great answer. And I get so curious now, and I'm sure everyone listening will as well. What is that fear? You want to share anything about that, or is it you can say no,
Sure.
but
Yeah. I think the fear deep down is a fear, and the more I process it, is this fear of um it has to do with the safety. I don't know on a deeper level, why or me personally, kind of more, I want to stay comfortable. I want to stay safe. These are things that I'm wondering, you know, is it something that's just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. There's something there, but I'm wondering too if the IUD with its hormones, if that's pumping into your body, is that creating some sort of level of like a low grade fear in the body? Are those hormones affecting that inside of me? Because I want to move from more of a heart space and let that lead my life and not worry so much about the fear and feeling safe. Because I am safe. Um,
yes.
on on every level, I feel that deep safety. So I'm wondering if there's something there. Yeah, when it comes to the IUD and the hormones that are pumped through my body.
So that's going to be so interesting to explore. And I also think maybe, maybe not. I also think we really have to recognize that fear is just, it's a normal human emotion.
Yes.
And we're not really here to get rid of fear. We're here to learn how to walk with fear. And this is the classic, like everybody's saying that. But I like your perspective of saying, okay, so I'm actually wondering whether this, and again, I want to call it a little bit of a numbness that we put into our body, does that also prevent me from being a little bit braver? So let's
Yes.
see, who
Yes.
knows, maybe,
Yes.
but also I just want to say I still feel fear.
Yeah.
Lots of fear. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. It
it's not
never
gonna
goes
be
away. It
like
should. Yeah. Yeah. It
you're not
sits
gonna
in.
just gonna be a daredevil tomorrow.
Yeah, they say fear sits in the passenger seat, and we sit in the driver's seat. It's always with us, but not steering in the direction. Yeah, yeah,
Exactly. Fear
yeah.
is a green light for sure. We that's what we need to learn how to lead ourselves into. But just taking this step is also courageous. And I hope that you're actually recognizing that for yourself because as we talked about initially, it's easy just to say, I'm just gonna stay out. I'm gonna take 5 more years. So you're already being bolder.
Yes, yes. It's almost like that commitment to yourself that like you're going to honor yourself, and now the people around you can help with that once you've taken the steps to kind
Mhm.
of make a decision for yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
So I have a bit of a mom question.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you have a boy and a girl.
Mhm.
And knowing what you know about yourself now and birth control, IUDs, I'm pretty sure you've been eating birth control pills as well at some stage.
Yes.
What have you learned that you are going to bring forward to your daughter?
Mm, it's a beautiful question. Um, yeah, I think about this one all the time because you want what's best for them, and you want what's best for the female body. And I think it's hard for me to say what that looks like in the future, but I know right now it looks like having those deeper conversations, really understanding the body, really understanding the parts, and how they work spiritually and physically, and keeping those conversations happening from a very young age so that her and I can really make those decisions as she gets older together with a lot of wisdom, with my personal wisdom, from what I've gone through.
Mhm.
Yeah, so just having those conversations from a young age, and making decisions really based on having all of the facts. Yeah,
I
yeah.
love that because we are the generation who didn't have that. We were told, we called our doctor, said like, I have a lot of pain or I'm sexually active, and then prescription, here's the pill.
Yes,
That was it. There was never anything else. So I really like that you want to bring this wisdom forward,
yeah.
and then your daughter gets to decide for herself what she wants to do with her body. But being able to have that story of telling her there's a possibility of with and without. It doesn't have to be on you, and being able to give her some of that
Mhm.
knowledge of what are the powers you gain from actually feeling your body, feeling your cycle. How is this an enabler? Because so
Yes.
many women and girls still grow up and they have a non-functional relationship to having a period, thinking it's wrong, they hate it, they call it their shit. In Danish, it literally we would say, "I have my shit." When we were bleeding, it's like, what the?
Yeah.
And I don't know if that expression goes in America as well, but that's basically what we say. So that's how we referred to it for so many years, and no wonder, like we don't want that, like we want to push it away, but really claiming that the power of the period is so
Yeah.
interesting. So
Yeah,
I
it's
love I
it's
love
amazing how much shame gets put on the female menstrual cycle. Just in the words that we use to describe it, or if we say it out loud, it's like, oh, you don't need rest on that day. What do there's so much judgment, there's so much shame. It's no wonder why women have a hard time speaking about their menstrual cycle, because there's so many projections on it, not just from the females, but from the men too. Mostly from the females.
yeah.
We're the ones supposed to take the lead, but yeah, having those beautiful conversations at a young age. I do remember we didn't talk a lot about birth control with my mom when I was, in my later teenage years, but with starting of my cycle, my mom really celebrated it.
She did.
She did, yeah. Actually, her and my godmother at the time, I think I was 13, they took me out on a special day, and we went to lunch, and I got my ears pierced, and we made a beautiful perfume that was, you know, some essential oils. And so they really celebrated it. And I remember thinking, this is beautiful. What a rite of passage into womanhood. And I remember that being so beautiful. And I want to do that for my daughter. But as the years got on, I feel like it got quieter. Like, what are you going to do about birth? There was none of that conversation. And so I was kind of choosing on my own, but it did start out really beautiful, which I'm really grateful for.
Oh, definitely celebrate it when your daughter has
Yes.
her first blood. It's like, I don't want kids for myself, but I'm like, if I were ever to have a girl, or if and I only have nephews, so I can't really put this anywhere. I'm like, I would give them the best fucking day of their life, telling them everything they needed to know,
Yes.
body
Yes.
and the beauty, and like, this is gonna be amazing.
Yes.
Like, let's celebrate it, because I'm so agreeing with what you're saying, that there's so much shame, and that's what we're releasing with all of this, and let's normalize the fact that we are in tune with our bodies, that we can trust it, that we choose the power over the control, because
Yes.
it's so much more empowering, and it allows us to be that full woman version of ourselves that we really, really want to be.
Yes, absolutely.
That's amazing.
Yes.
Okay. Time is not running, but it's flying. So is there anything you want to say or ask before we slowly start to wrap up, or how are you feeling?
I want to say thank you so much for having this beautiful conversation. I feel very honored to be here with you right now, in deep presence, talking about, all the things feminine and body and spiritual. And I'm just really grateful that we're having this conversation. I'm really happy to be here and thank you. Deep gratitude.
You are so welcome. And I even want to say, if in 6 months or 12 months or so, you feel like coming on back again and sharing, like, what has changed? What did this actually do for you? You just reach out, and then when we find that out.
I love that. Beautiful.
I want to just tell people about my experience of getting rid of the IUD. As I said, it felt like the first time in forever that my body could actually breathe. So after bursting into tears and just running out from the doctor's office saying like, I need to be somewhere else. It really was that beautiful journey of finding back home to myself again and understanding my body. I felt like a veil really did lift slowly. It wasn't just like now everything's different, but that exploration of figuring out, like, what does cervical fluids look like in the body? For instance, what are the different ways that I know where I'm entering from one season into the next? How can I really unlock those powers that are in each season of the cycle? It's it's really a beautiful journey into oneself, and it has to be an active approach for ourselves to get curious and to actually do that work, because it doesn't just come as a default when we are finally off any hormones. It really is a decision to say, okay, so I'm going to start to learn to see what feels good for me in this period, what feels good in this season, what do I want to eat, how do I nourish myself. We have to also understand that when we say that it's period power, we can never really use our period or our cycle or any season as an excuse for anything, because then we just become disempowered. So I also tend to say that I don't believe in PMS. I don't think it's a real thing. I think it's invented by probably some men and some women who didn't really understand their bodies. We're not supposed to be these hormonal wrecks, even off the pill. There's something inside of you that you haven't listened to. So it really is an unfolding, and learning to go with that and moving deeper and deeper every single cycle is just the most beautiful journey. And I've done it
So
for
good.
5 years and I have so much more to learn. It's wonderful. So I really hope that you find someone who you can have some of these really empowering conversations with and learn from them as well, because there's so much gold waiting for you.
Wow. I love that what you just said about the PMS, that it's not, it's really us not listening to ourselves. And so it's coming out in other ways.
Oh yes.
Wow. Yeah.
Oh yes. So take that with you at least.
Yes,
Really
yes.
thinking that, okay,
Love
so this is me and my power. So you never get to be disempowered. What are you not tuning into? What are you not listening to? Always bring it back. So your
Mm,
body knows. The question is, are we listening or not?
mm,
And that's
mm.
always the case. Okay. So I hope that you, Jen, felt something stirring in your body, and I hope that everyone listened have that experience too. Maybe you have the same experience as Jen, like this feeling of, oh, is it time? Do I need to make a shift? Not need, do I want to make a shift? Maybe this remembering of, oh, there's actually something deeper. And it could have been a quiet yes, or it could be a little bit of a rebellion, like, oh, I want to jump on board of this as well. I want to be the one who changes how it feels to be a woman, who changes what it feels like to have a period, who changes the ideal of what it means to be a woman in her empowered body. Because what this really did for me, and what I'm really hoping it's going to do for you as well, is that when we stop outsourcing that authority and really, really start listening to the truth that lives deep in ourselves, that is when we feel another sense of liberation. That is when we really become empowered. And I wish that for every woman out there. So I hope you feel inspired, everyone. And if this conversation resonated in any way, and if you're craving a space really to stay close to your body, to grow from that place of safety and truth and power, the doors to the Grounded to Grow membership is open. It really is this place where women and men who are ready to move differently in the world can anchor in from that body-based perspective with soul deep explorations of themselves and what it means to be a human and a soul in a body. Learning to, you can say, walk with our own rhythms is, I think, the most beautiful thing we can do for ourselves. So if that's what anyone's curious about, the Grounded to Grow membership, I'll link it in the show notes. And I just want to say, your body is so damn wise. Like, you can trust it, and the timing is absolutely perfect. It's so beautiful. So Jenn, thank you so much for being here. It was a pleasure, and I hope that everyone here enjoyed listening to your angelic voice. Thank you so much for being here. And for everyone listening, I will see you in the next episode.